welcome. Thank you for joining us. We have Dé Lamar Herbert, clinical hypnotherapist here with us today. How are you today?
I'm doing lovely, doing blessed. Excited to be here. Excited to be here.
Awesome, awesome. Calling in from California.
Yes, yeah. Oh yeah. Sunny California today. It was a beautiful, clear day.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you calling in. We appreciate your time here. We just want to ask you a couple of questions and kind of get to know you. And I'm sure through these questions and getting to know you, we're going to find out a lot more and delve deeper into the work that you do. So the first question that we ask our guests is, what season of life are you in, and what is it teaching you?
That's a great question. The season of life that I'm in. And you had given me an idea of what we're going to talk about, but I still want it to be more improvisational because that's my style. I like to give you my heart, give you exactly where I'm at. The season I would say I'm in is the season of growth and perseverance.
Hmm.
Growth and perseverance.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And what is that? How is that stretching you? What is that teaching you?
So I would say growth and perseverance because growth is learning how to grow with all the unknowns,
Hmm.
knowing how to be focused. As the young folks would say, stay, be locked in, get locked in.
Okay.
How to get locked in and not be overburdened by the doubt, by the fear, by the procrastination, by all of the things when you're in the workshop, all those things when you don't have everything visibly in front of you when you're trying to build your dream or you're trying to build your dream life. So for me, I don't have everything that I want right now, but I'm in that growth phase because I look at it like a plant, right? Because I'm a visionary. I think in pictures. A plant has to grow underneath the ground. It has to grow in darkness, essentially.
Hmm.
And it has one single purpose, and that's to grow, you know, and to grow up. So
Hmm.
part of my journey as a hypnotherapist is learning from myself, learning from my clients, learning from everything around me, learning how to adapt and how to grow and and how to persevere because as you're on that journey of growth, perseverance is one of those things where you can only learn through experience. You can only learn through just keep moving forward to persevere. And it brings me back to the Kobe Mamba mentality, you know, and the Jordans. These are people that are masterful at their craft,
Right.
and that's what I plan to do. I want to be the best. I already feel like I'm the best hypnotherapist, and that's not to brag or boast, but I know I am. It's because the time I put in, the research I do for each and every one of my clients,
Right.
I waste no time. As you
So,
know, I waste no minutes.
so you're an
So
outlier. You're an outlier. You put in your 10,000 hours and you're continuing to do so.
I'm not there yet. I don't think I've gotten to 10,000 hours yet,
Okay.
but you got the gist of it. That's exactly what I'm going for, is that 10,000 hours or more. And
Mhm.
so yeah,
When were you first called to do hypnotherapy?
that's a great question. I guess we'll have to start with how I even got to hypnotherapy because I think for most people, when they think of hypnosis or hypnotherapy, most people think that you're gonna steal their brain.
Hmm.
Most people think that you're gonna have them barking like a dog. Most people think that you're gonna have them doing something crazy that they don't want to do. They think that this mind control. And one of my jobs first, when I first meet you, if you don't know anything about hypnosis, is to make sure that you're 100% educated on what it really is, you know?
Hmm.
And one of the first things I say to new clients is when you don't know something, you're going to know 100 ways of it being wrong. Or if you don't know something, you're going to have a fear of it, you know? And you think of certain peoples of the world that are feared, or are stereotyped, is because the other side doesn't don't know them very well, you know. And there's millions of examples like that. I'm trying to think of a better example, but um, so my journey started a long time ago. I wanted to be in the healthcare field. I
Okay.
wanted to help people. I started as a caretaker, actually. I used to work in a nonprofit with, I think we had about 50 clients that had disabilities, you know, different disabilities ranging from uh, mid to high level autism to mental disorders. You know, they were the people that, you know, it didn't look glamorous. You know, that job wasn't a sort of a glamorous job, but I had a heart. You know, I've always had a heart for people and service.
Mhm.
So I started off as caretaker for about 6 years. I decided I wanted to get paid more. You know, I wanted to upgrade my life and get, make more money just like anybody, and kind of,
Move
get
on.
things going financially. Yeah,
Yes.
move up, take on more responsibilities and
Right.
take my experience and elevate. So I
Right.
went to school, and when I went to school, I went for nursing because this was the only thing that kind of fit what I was trying to do. Although I never really felt the gravitation toward nursing, but I just said, hey, I'll do the coursework. And if something better comes up along the way, then that's what I'll do.
Mhm.
And so as I was getting ready to apply to nursing school, finishing up my prerequisites, I had a girlfriend at the time. Her coworker he was just kept telling me about this thing called respiratory therapy. Respiratory therapy, if you don't know, is just like nursing,
Breathing.
but
Yeah.
we just focus on the lungs and the heart.
Right.
And he was saying, hey, they get paid as much. You don't have to worry about, from head to toe. You ain't got to deal with so much blood and all the other things that nurse got to deal with. And,
Right.
and the money's good, and it's a lot of growth there. So I figured, yeah, that's what I wanted to do. Um, but I've always had the idea of being some sort of like counselor, therapist, psychologist.
Mhm.
The only reason why I never went after that was because of the years that it takes to get there, the
Mhm.
years that it takes to get there. And I didn't tell you this, but actually, this is new for you too.
Okay.
Um, but I'm actually going back to school for clinical psychology too. Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Wow. Interesting.
So yeah, yeah. So I've decided to go back because that was one of the things that I felt like I had stopped. I didn't pursue when I was younger because I was thinking about the money versus the purpose and the passion,
Mhm.
the presence, like we talked about,
Mhm.
and now I just live for that. I live for the purpose and the passion and the presence because the money is going to follow you when you become masterful at anything,
That's right.
right?
That's right.
So,
So you arriving at hypnotherapy.
yeah. So after respiratory therapy, I got burnt out. This is a very important part. I got burnt out after COVID,
Mhm.
right? Because I've been a respiratory therapist now. I mean, a hypnotherapist now, going on 2 years.
Okay.
But I I was burnt out after COVID. I was completely burnt out. I was, up and down, saving people's lives, wearing masks that were 3 weeks old, 4 weeks old. It was disgusting.
Mm.
What we had to do to help patients, seeing coworkers quit on the job.
Yeah.
It was very traumatic.
The healthcare profession was hit pretty hard.
It was hit so hard, and I don't complain about it because if there's a fire, I expect firefighters to go fight the fire,
Right.
right? Have the training. If there's a crime, I hope there's a police officer not sitting at the bar eating donuts, but he's getting, he's doing what he's trained to do because we need healthcare professionals, we need protectors and leaders, providers of the community. We need therapists, we need life coaches, we need these people that protect us in different ways, because the world is not so gentle. It's a jungle out here.
It really is. It really is.
So I arrived at hypnotherapy after I had I was after I was burnt out. I started going through. I went through a hypnotherapist actually,
Hmm.
and at that time I was just like, I just needed some. I needed some help. I was going through like some PTSD sort of deal, just kind of learning how to de-traumatize my nervous system.
Hmm.
And the hypnotherapist, this kind lady, she, really taught me so many things that sparked my interest, and it brought me back to my early college days of wanting to be a clinical um, psychologist.
Mhm.
And I said, that this sparked something in me. And then I got a life coach. I hired a life coach after that, and I decided to make the transition from the job, that I was working to this dream of mine. Um, I did so she inspired me. I started looking at hypnosis and hypnotherapy, and it's something just clicked inside of me. I don't I they talk about when you find like your dream, your purpose, and you feel like this like come to Jesus moment. I promise you that's so real when
So
you
that
find
happened
your,
with
your
you? That
purpose.
happened with you?
It was like I
You
got
remember the
online when
moment?
I still remember the moment.
Oh,
I
wow.
was online. I was online and I was just looking up hypnosis and hypnotherapy, just doing research because at that time I was thinking like, what can I do to like, to get out of this field, but do something that I love.
Mhm.
And everything was coming back. Like the life coach I was talking to, she was telling me about, I had two, but the other I had two. One of them, it was a he that told me this because I remember I had two. But the life coach had told me, you should do what I do. I think you do very good at life coaching.
Mhm.
And I was like, yeah, I don't know about life coaching because I ain't got my life right now. You know what I'm saying? And 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 it's not like you have to have your life 100% right. I was just thinking from my old perspective. Now I
Right.
would tell anybody, because you never know who you can inspire exactly where you're at,
Exactly.
and you don't know. There's so many people that think that you have to be perfect to be a leader, and that's not the case. If that's the case, then we wouldn't look up to heroes, because the reason why we look up to heroes are because they have a story that is similar to us. You think
Exactly.
about Black Panther. Black Panther was a humble dude. He was susceptible to the things that we were susceptible to. He had to use technology to protect his people, but he had heart, he had purpose, he had all these different elements. It's the same thing that we have within ourselves. You know what I'm saying?
Agree.
So
And I think it's
so
important. The other thing that you said that was really important was the healer needs healing.
exactly,
The
absolutely,
healer needs healing.
yeah.
So, me being a counselor, right? Um, I call you my teacher. I was able to come to you and learn about hypnotherapy and actually, go through some of the techniques that I wasn't aware of. And that helped me. So the healers need healing. We're not perfect.
Absolutely.
We're not perfect. So,
And you healed me, in a lot of ways just by helping you, and and that's the thing too, because I always say that you're gonna attract, like as a life coach yourself, you're gonna attract people that are either on your journey or or experiencing things that you've already experienced and accomplished. You're not gonna really attract people that are just totally not aligned at all. You're gonna attract people that are dealing with similar or things that are the past. And it's a beautiful thing because then you realize what the whole big purpose of life is, and that's to healers heal. The healer needs healing. You help each other out, and that's all we're doing is supporting each other. And yeah, so
so let me ask,
yeah,
let me ask you, what was it about hypnotherapy and like really, getting people to go to the subconscious realm that really fascinated you? What was it about that?
it was the simple fact that 90% of who we think we are
Mm,
is totally unconscious to our awareness. Okay, I'm gonna say that again. 90% of who you are, who I am, is under our awareness. Meaning, if there was a fly on the wall that was watching us all day, there's a million and one things that we do that we're not even conscious of
Mm,
because we're living, a lot of times we're living in the past. And if you don't have control of your subconscious mind, you'll be a slave to the past.
mm,
And that's the hard truth is that most people, they want these things in life, they want to go places in their life, but they don't realize that it's like a car. If you want to go somewhere, you have to do what? You have to put your foot on the gas.
mhm, mhm,
But when if 90% of you is putting the foot on the brake, you're not going to go too far.
mm,
So once I realized that a lot of the changes that I wanted to see in my life come from a place that's unconscious of me, it really started the journey inward. And from that point on, I stopped looking for things that are outside of me to heal me. You know what I mean?
mm,
And it
mm,
was such a process, and it's slow at first because it's almost like you're meeting someone new when you're really talking to the inner child, or you're really talking to that part of you that doesn't have everything that it needs, and you have to kind of help that part of you figure it out and be there for you in a way that no one else was there for you. And it's pain. It can be painful, but it's extremely rewarding.
I totally
Yeah.
agree. So Howard, you mentioned the brake and the gas, right? And then you mentioned, being in tune with that inner child, right? So if someone is like, if this is like foreign language to them, and well, how do I know if I need to do that? What do you mean about the brake and the gas? What would you say to them? How would you go a little further
Yeah, absolutely. I would
in
say
regards to how hypnotherapy can help them?
right. Well,
Mhm.
it's all you just have to first you have to know and be aware of the fact that you are not going to you're the sum of your past and your patterns and your habits. And if you want anything ever to change in your life, if you ever want any sort of change in your life, whether that's a new relationship, more money, more success, if you want to lose weight, if you want to quit a bad habit, you have to begin to understand that you can change these things, but they're going to come right back if you do not go to the source. So if for example, I say you can't heal a gunshot wound with a band-aid. And what you did during those traumatic times, you have to approach it with a different solution. You
Mhm,
know, some of
mhm,
the problems that have happened in the past, they required a hammer, right? But now the problem that you're facing is going to require a wrench. It's going to require a screwdriver. It's going to require a tape. It's going to require many other tools. And that's what hypnotherapy is. It gives you more tools and it helps you save time.
mhm.
Okay.
Well, who are you when you're not doing this work? What do you do to unwind? What do you do to relax? What do you do for yourself?
I do this. I do this. This is what I do.
Uh-huh.
You know, I'm at the park. I'm fishing. I'm swimming. I'm traveling. Um, spending time with my family.
Mhm.
Uh, I got a nephew and three nieces. They call me Uncle Day Day. So I'm Uncle Day Day to them. I'm like a celebrity, a local celebrity. You know, you know, I like making music. So I produce music. I'm
Explore your
not trying to.
creative side.
Yeah, I do it just for fun though. It's recreation. I'm not trying to make a Grammy. I'm not trying to win a Grammy.
Well, wait,
Um,
I have to mention, so when you're doing your hypnotherapy, you're also infusing music. So it is some,
yeah, you
creativity in
got that.
this.
You know
Yeah.
what? That's something that I don't talk a lot. It's kind of like a doctor talking about his latest scalpel. Like I got the X5. Nobody. Most patients don't care about that. They just want to make sure that you know what you're doing and you're not gonna hurt me. And as a hypnotherapist, yes, that's what I do too. And with the music background that I have, when I'm making recordings or you know I'm selecting music for the sessions, I know exactly what I'm doing with the music, and I know how it's gonna deepen um, trance-like trance-like states. I know how it's going to affect uh, my clients particularly, because I don't just pick out random things. I have to study my client. I have to make sure I understand them and give them value, give them 10 times the value that they pay me for their services. That's my mission statement, is to provide for them 10 times much and make sure that when they leave, that they become who who they say they are, you know. And a lot of times we just need an unbiased perspective. We need to see ourselves outside of the frame, and we need somebody that's caring, that's listening to them, that's present
Very much so.
to for them to handle their own problems, you know.
Mhm.
That's all we need. We don't need people to handle our problems. We just need
It's
someone just to
within
say,
us.
hey,
It's within
yeah,
us, for sure, for sure.
yeah.
Oh, great. That's amazing. How do you move? There's a lot of these are very uncertain times, right? A lot of things are going on in the world, right? And so how do you deal with a lot of the uncertainties and the unknowns? How do you deal with that?
Censoring,
Mm,
Cen- censoring is very important, because I'm not God, or do I want to be God? I think it's a great responsibility. I mean, I love the Most High, but there's a lot of different uncertainties and variables to life, that can happen at any moment. And the only thing that we can control is our breath. That's the only thing and we can barely control that, right? Because even that can be taken away from us.
right.
Um, so we have to realize, how it's that saying, the locus of control, having that locus of control. And part of having that locus of control is just knowing how to be present. So that's why that's why I really, really talk about meditation so important, because if you don't start off your day with a sense of inner control, the only thing that you can control in this world, you will be pushed left and right from every variable that happens in the world.
So how do you start
And we
your
talked
day?
about this before.
How do you start your day?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's perfect. Perfect. So the way I start my day, I call it the golden hour.
Mm.
It's the golden hour when you wake up, the golden hour before you go to bed. So I actually start my day the night before I start my day, right? I actually envision what I want to do the day before, because during that golden hour before you go to bed, your brain is marinating, it's processing. It's like your stomach, it processes. We've heard we have two stomachs. We have a gut stomach, and we have and a brain stomach, right? Well, the brain is processing things that happen during that day, during multiple days. And if you don't allow your brain to digest properly, you'll bring things from yesterday to today, and you'll bring today to tomorrow, and you won't actually allow yourself to be in the present moment. So I start my day by, before I go to bed the previous day, looking at what I want to accomplish for the next day, and then waking up with that state, waking up in that feeling, waking up in that mood. Do I wake up like that every day? No. But there's another opportunity to practice, because this is all practice, right? Um, so I'm practicing during that first hour I wake up, to stay in control, to stay, not stay in control, but to center myself and to be in a state of quiet and stillness. And this is so important. It's so important. It's to practice stillness in the morning. So whether it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, however I end up managing it, because it's not always perfect, I try to start by, closing my eyes, and listening to my breath, and just being connected to everything around me, connected to everything around me, starting off with my breath, and then what I hear, what I smell, what I taste, what I touch, and just going through that until I allow my brain and because the brain is going to continue to chatter as you start that meditative process.
Right.
And then once I start to notice the brain, it starts to notice me. And then eventually it'll start doing its own thing. And then I'll do my own thing. And it's like the brain is kind of tuned out. Then you really start to experience what it's like to be still, you
Mm,
know? So
mhm.
it's a whole process, but
That
that
is
that
very
part
good,
of the day is important. Yeah.
very good sentiment. I like how you started off with the senses.
Yeah. It's very important.
And the child will still be there, but at some point, it'll stop. It
Yep.
will stop. It will stop. That is awesome. That is awesome. So you talk a lot about the nervous system, restoring the nervous system, right?
Hmm.
And restoring the nervous system so that we can get deeper sleep.
Yes.
You want
Yeah.
to talk a little
Restoring
bit
the,
about that?
yeah. So what I do, what I specialize in is nervous system restoration for deeper sleep. So the idea is that when you grow up, most people grow up where my target market, my clients, they grow up in chaotic households. Okay, like myself, I'm
Okay.
a product of what I'm preaching. I've been through it,
Okay.
and most people grow up in households where they had to take on a lot of responsibility at an early age. They had to take on all these different roles. It's a lot of chaos going on, and they never really learn how to relax. They never really learn how to rest. They never really learned how to center themselves.
Always on
And
edge. Always on edge.
always on edge, always on go,
Mhm.
always, some sort of, we got to do this. This is next. We got to do this. This is next.
What is
And
it
the
called?
problem with that,
Like, yeah.
yeah, and the problem with that is that within internally, it creates a sense of unease. It creates a sense of inner turmoil.
Mhm.
And that can interrupt, a lot of times it can interrupt with your rest, your sleep, because in order to really get deep restorative sleep, to get deep REM 3 sleep, to sleep adequately, because the brain needs it for so many different reasons. You
Mhm.
need rest. Um, um, if you don't get that rest, you'll just end up, taking pretty much essentially taking cat naps throughout your whole life. And that affects so many areas of your life. It can affect your heart, it can affect your nervous system, your cardiovascular system. And so,
So it affects the physical. It also affects the mental because you're not really like if you're not getting enough sleep, you're not really like thinking clearly, right? And so when you talk about like I'm really big on the physical, mental, and the spiritual fitness and the health. So sleep is very important.
very important. Yeah, very important. And I didn't know that I had a sleeping problem until I actually saw a hypnotherapist myself. I didn't know I had a nervous system problem until I started getting good sleep,
Mm, mm,
you know. So that's pretty much why I created that program, because I wanted people to experience what it's like, as a respiratory therapist, I would, and I specialized in sleep too, so it came to me, during this year actually is when I created this program. And I said, why am I not helping? Like, I have so much information on just this area, and I can still help others through, whatever that they need hypnotherapy services with. But this is what I need to focus on, because this is something that changed my life,
mm,
and I saw the benefit of in deep sleep. And I remember a lot of my patients as a respiratory therapist, they had insomnia. They
mhm.
had really bad insomnia, and I couldn't help them because I didn't know what I know now.
Right, right.
So,
So how many hours of sleep
so
are you getting? How many hours of REM sleep are you getting?
I'm getting a solid 6.5
That's
now.
good.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say, okay, because a lot of people say that that's not good. They say, well, 6.5 is not a lot of sleep, but I'm saying you need at least 5.5 to about 10. It's
Mhm,
within that range.
mhm,
But you're talking to someone that is licensed, professionally licensed to talk about this stuff, and that has worked in sleep. I've worked in sleep labs and pulmonary function labs. So I can tell you that if you're getting at least 5 hours of sleep, you're
That's good.
good.
That's
I
good.
had to hook up my phone here. There we go. Got my
Okay,
power.
you're
Perfect.
back. Okay. That is awesome. So you getting 5.5 hours, so that's pretty solid.
Yeah, yeah. How many hours are you getting?
Oh,
I
uh,
gotta flip it
my
on you.
sleep,
Yeah.
my sleep is breaking up. So I'm an early riser. So I wake up at
Uh-huh.
4 a.m. in the morning. So I like,
Oh, okay.
yes,
4
I'm an
a.m.
early
club.
riser, which means I like to go to bed early, and
Yeah.
so going to bed early, sometimes I find myself if I go to bed at 9 or so, I'm back up in between that, and then I go back to sleep to get back up, if that makes
Okay.
sense. So
Yeah.
I make it a good 5, 6, May. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that I love getting up early myself too, So that's why, when it comes down to that bedtime, I'm hitting lights. It's dark in my room. It's
Yes.
it's cold, and I got my whole environment. I'm not looking at the news. I'm not on social media. Sleep is very, very important.
And I
Very,
think
very
that's a
important.
big thing right now is the screens, social media, you got to
Hmm.
keep the phone outside the room, things of that nature. So let me ask you, what advice would you give to someone who's moving through transition, loss, or just deep uncertainty right now? What advice would you give to someone?
Give me an example. Help
Okay.
help me. Help me here.
Deep uncertainty. So, someone's probably watching the news or someone's being affected by a lot of the things that are going on today. Maybe a loss of job, you know, uh,
Okay.
maybe when I just think about like a lot of the uncertainty that's going on in the world, things that are sometimes outside of our control.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. What advice would you give that person?
I would say I would first ask them what is it that they want out of life, because a lot of times we're so distracted that we forget what is it exactly that we want out of life, and we live other people's lives. We live other people's goals. We live other people's control, like people that are working for corporate, for example. You're just they're puppets. You're just that's all you're doing is they create this comfortable lifestyle for you. We call it the golden handcuffs. They make it look so good, and you got this pension, and you got this and that. Meanwhile, they're really living life, because remember, life is really just freedom.
Mm,
Life is just freedom. And anything that frees me, that makes me feel free, that allows me to feel free, then I know it's speaking my language, because that's the type of life I want to live. So I would ask them what they want, and once they figure out what they want, then to get a clear picture of exactly what they want. What does that look like? What would that feel like? Really get them in that state. And then once they're inspired enough to know that, what they want, then I would say, what is it that's stopping you? Because remember, we all have the answers aside. It's not like I'm trying to do anything for them. I would just say, I would just lead them with the right questions. Okay, what's stopping you? Okay, is it the self doubt? Is the procrastination? Is it the fear? It's usually those three, but it could be anything else. Is it the shame? If we want to go deeper, is
mm,
it the pain? Is it the criticism? Maybe it's the voice of your parents that are still, that need to be turned down inside. But we gotta figure out first how we gotta locate where the gas pedal is, so this is the gas pedal and this is how you're gonna move forward, by really getting your vision really clear. And then we gotta locate that brake, and then we gotta start taking the foot off the brake, and before we can even hit the gas, we gotta take the foot off the brake, because a lot of people want to go toward the job and the relationship and everything, but they haven't did the work on themselves. They haven't spent time with themselves. They don't know themselves. So when they attract the wrong person, they don't realize that they're attracting the right person, but it's just the wrong them, you
mm,
know?
mm,
So once they know them, once they really, really get a chance to date themselves, then they know when the right person comes along, because they're going to say, oh, okay, this is the person that I am. I really got a grasp of who I am. So it just becomes an easier process like that. You don't waste time with people that are not compatible, you know? And
Dropping gems. You dropping gems here. We're getting it all. We're getting it all from you. So
yeah, yeah.
let me ask you, finish this sentence for me. Living in my power looks like,
Ooh, living in my power looks like being a center grounded man. It means standing on business. It means it means having a quiet power. I don't have to be the loudest in the room for me to speak the loudest.
mm, mm,
It means my boundaries will be respected. Period.
mm,
Is that's the end of the sentence.
mm.
Um,
Got it.
um, and I will leave this world better than I found it. That's what it
Mm,
means.
mm. I love that. There's a principle, I celebrate Kwanzaa, and there's a principle that describes just that. I'm not sure which one it is. It'll come to me, but it's, one of our responsibilities is to leave the world better than in which we found it. So that's something that
Yeah,
I've studied all my life, and that's how I approach, you know, um, that's how I approach life, or sit
yeah,
or any environments that I'm in. So that's
yeah.
okay. So an affirmation that you live by.
Huh. It's more of a short story. It's more of a short story. It's more of a incantation. It's more of a parable, but an affirmation. Yeah, because I think a lot in pictures. So when people like, if you were to ask me this question, I'm gonna give you a short story,
Okay.
a very, very short story.
Okay.
It's the story of the elephant,
Mm,
right? Because it's my favorite animal. Um, so as you know, like elephants, when you go to the zoo, you go see elephants, they're tied to a post, right? And no one's ever asked why doesn't the elephant just, I mean, it's very powerful, just break away from the post and walk out of the zoo. I mean, it has the power to do it, or at least cause a lot of chaos to where people, whoever holding the elephant, are going to let them out.
mhm,
And the reason why is because most people don't know how to train an elephant. You train an elephant when it's young, right? You train an elephant when it doesn't know its power. And so the elephant is tied to a post as a child or as a baby, and it may pull it a few times and then it'll get punished and it'll tie it back, right? That elephant will grow to believe that it can never leave that post, right? And it's a lot like I say that parable, right? I say that because that's a lot like us as people, especially people of color. We don't know our full capacity if we don't understand who we really are. And a part of that is knowing your history, right? You have to know your history to know your future. So, in order to train yourself, to retrain yourself, you have to retrain yourself. You have to realize that the things that may be holding you down are not stronger than you.
mm,
So, I guess that's the affirmation. You
mm,
know, some of the things that may be holding you down or you perceive as holding you down are not stronger than you, right? Because
mm.
uh, um, I guess he is that is greater in you is greater than in the world. That's another piece from the Bible. And so,
Wow.
what you have in you is more powerful than anything that you're going through or will ever go through. So you have all the resources. You just have to locate all those resources and have them on standby. And really that's the process of going inward and learning how to cultivate those resources for yourself. And then it's important too to pass those on. Once you've mastered yourself,
Yeah.
pass those on. Take on leadership roles. You don't have to be a hypnotherapist. You don't have to be a life coach. You don't have to be a therapist. But you have to, in some capacity, whether it's through your kids, whether it's through your nephews and nieces, you have to each one teach one. You have to take on that responsibility.
Yeah.
It's like being a black belt. A black belt, if you know nothing about martial arts, because I do like jujitsu and karate and taekwondo and all these things. That's another thing I do. I like martial arts.
Oh,
But
okay.
a black belt is nothing more than a white belt. A white belt is supposed to be the beginner, and the
Right.
black belt is the master,
Mm.
right? But a black belt is nothing more than a white belt that never stopped.
Mm. I like that. I had a white
Right.
belt with a couple of yellow stripes,
Okay.
a little bit of
There you go.
martial arts when I was younger. I didn't reach the, I might have gone orange, but I didn't reach black, but it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But you had your stripes though. You
I
got your
had my
stripes. You don't. That's
stripes.
not easy to get those stripes. You know some. Nobody better run up on you. You
I
know
have a
some.
funny story, but that's another time. That's another time. So, I wanted you to leave us with some sort of hypnosis technique, something brief. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Is there anything you could share with us?
Absolutely. Yeah, I can do something.
Okay,
Right up right now, right on the spot.
right on the spot.
Okay.
Do it too.
All right. So what you're gonna have to do is you're just gonna have to, get in a comfortable position.
Mhm.
You can go ahead and close your eyes. We're gonna start off with 3 regular breaths, just nice and regular. Very good, just like that. And wherever you are right now, just let your breath become a little slower now. Very good. And a wise man once said that when you pay attention to something, that something begins to pay attention to you. And as we begin to pay attention to our breath, allow your breath to become a little slower, paying attention to you now. Inhale gently through the nose and sigh through the mouth very gently, as if you're setting down a weight you didn't even realize you were carrying. And I'm wondering if you can now just notice the ground beneath you, steady, unshakable, just like that. Almost as if the earth itself is holding you up, reminding you that you don't have to hold everything on your own. With each exhale, imagine tension melting down from your shoulders right now, your jaw. And notice how the upper and lower jaw become more aware of the middle and that space in between the upper and lower jaw. Notice how your shoulders are dropping down and relaxed now, like ice turning into water, dripping away. And as the body loosens, feel something subtle begin to rise within. A soft glow, almost like the warmth of sunlight spreading across your skin. That glow is yours. It's the part of you that never leaves, never breaks. It never forgets who you are. It never leaves, never breaks. That part never forgets who you are. That glow is yours. It's the part of you that never leaves. And now breathe into it. Really breathe into it. And notice how it expands. It touches every part of you. The heart that longs to be seen, the mind that wants to rest, the nervous system that wants to reset, the spirit that remembers freedom. Each breath lighter, calmer, more open, more free. And let this truth settle in now. You are safe. You are whole. You are already enough. You are whole. You are safe. You are already enough. You are safe. You are whole. You are already enough. And take one more big deep breath in, this time to the top of your lungs. Big deep breath in, hold it gently. And as you release, release any and all resisting tension or stress away as you release, just like that. Very good. And when you're ready, return carrying this ease and this quiet strength with you, like a light inside that nothing or no one could ever dim.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And so, just so the listeners
Absolutely.
know, um, if you want to reach out, if you want to know more, if you want to delve into the programs that are offered, all of that will be in the description below. And we thank you for
Absolutely.
joining us today from sunny California. It's dark where we are right now, but that sun is shining over there. We appreciate you. We love hypnotherapy, okay, over here.
Love
So
you back.
we appreciate you. Yes, thank you so much.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for allowing me to come, come by and share my story. And hopefully this isn't the last one. I know
We'll have you
this is
back
such
on.
a successful podcast and journey, and I know you're gonna have some real, including myself, you know, not to, but I know you're gonna have some really inspiring people that are really gonna make a change, in this world. And you are the, I don't want to call you a street. You're the avenue. You're the, how do you say it? Intersection. You're gonna be
Bridge,
the
the bridge.
intersection, the
Yeah,
bridge.
yeah.
You are the bridge, because I've always told you, you have a way of connecting people. That's your gift, is
Yeah,
connection.
yeah.
And that's something that you do it so effortlessly, and you create such a safe space for people. And I'm so glad that you created that for yourself, and that's dope, So yeah, you're doing such a great, powerful job, and I'm so proud of you. And
Thank
yeah,
you.
I'll invite me back anytime, and
Oh, we're
I'll
gonna have you
definitely.
back. Thank that was we got a little freebie, a little taste of what he does, and so we'll invite you back for some more. And the listeners will be able to kind of tap in with you through your tags in the description box below.
Sounds good. It only gets better too. The next time it's gonna be even better, so I don't want to miss that too. That was just, a little taste.
Little teaser,
But
a little teaser.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. If it's something specific that we want to, talk about, then we could dive into that. But no, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. I'm gonna go give me something to eat now.
Okay.
But
Thank you.
it's been a blessing.
Okay. All right. Talk
All
soon.
right.
All right.
Take
Bye.
care.